Am I here alone? Am I here alone?
Hello.
I can hear you now.
I was talking away.
It's like, this is not a one-woman show. Come on now.
I've been talking and nobody can hear me because I forgot to put myself into the stream. Oh my gosh. What is wrong with me? I was talking away to just saying and Carly and Pork Chop, and I'm just talking away. And nobody can hear me.
There's an echo.
Oh, is it echoing?
I can hear it on your speakers coming back through.
Are you all hearing it? It does echo a little bit in this room because I don't have carpet. Or is it a bad echo?
It's like your speakers are picking up on your microphone. So 2 seconds after I say something, I hear myself say it.
Oh, that's different. You don't have YouTube open on another page, do you?
No. Oh, God. Well, let me make sure because I could be a liar.
Yeah, because if you have it up on another page, it'll do that.
Okay, let's see.
I always do it because I forget to...
Oh, it's me. Me. I don't know the song. The problem is me.
That's me. That's me tonight, too. So what I was saying when you all couldn't hear me, with the new YouTube rules, now y'all know why I don't cuss on YouTube. Because I think that rule has always been.
I heard it was you can't, like your stream will get flagged if it's within like the first couple, because the commentary community has been talking about it. You can't cuss within the first few seconds or first few minutes of the stream. And like, it can't be like you just go on like a tirade.
Yeah.
But, like, just like slowly through.
You can't like cuss all the way through. I've always felt like they penalized streams that did that. That's why I've never cussed on YouTube. And I think it's so funny because when people come in the Discord and they hear me cuss like I do in real life, and they start cracking up because they think I don't cuss. I just don't cuss on YouTube.
Right. You're like, I'm from the Midwest. I was born with those words in my mouth.
That's right. That's I always say, if you guys could hear me cuss at work, I am such a potty mouth at work. Oh,
yeah, me as football games. Like those big football games.
Yeah.
I can't sit still. My mouth, I say every word under the sun. My husband has been like, I cannot believe some of the stuff you say. And I'm like, well, it's football.
It's bad when I'm at work. If I'm having a bad day at work, it gets really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Fashionista.
I think the first time I heard you cuss, I was like taken aback. Like,
Irish
out of your mouth?
Irish, remember when Irish still, if I cuss, she's like, I can't get over you cussing. I can't.
Irish is like, I tried to pull that echo with her. That's true. I do it. Like, I forget. And then I'm like, oh.
Yeah, because we were chatting earlier and it was echoing and it was her. Y'all always want to blame me.
Yeah.
It's you guys. It's not me.
Sometimes it is.
Darn.
Oh, fine. Maybe it is sometimes.
So I have 5 pages of notes that I took.
Peyton?
Yeah. I was like writing down every juicy thing I could get my hands on.
Did you watch the whole 3 hours?
I got like 75%. Like, I started it at like 5, maybe 4 something, and then I just stopped it now.
Oh.
So I feel like I watched it earlier, but like, I was in and out, half asleep because I didn't feel great. But I got the good stuff, I think. Like, the last, I think there's like maybe 45 minutes left, half an hour that I haven't done.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have time to watch the whole thing, so I had to just hit the highlights. I will say I am shocked he's not going after these people on TikTok that are showing his content. He should be copy striking all of them.
He probably will. Give him time.
I would.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a money-making thing for him like it is maybe for, like, obviously. Oh, yeah, John. I thought you were talking about Paedon.
No, John Yates,
No.
because everybody's playing clips of his stream on TikTok and they're getting buku views.
Yeah.
That's
They're
true. I
making
saw
money.
everything, like the little clips and highlights, like the good stuff I saw on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Is he now? This is his second channel, isn't it? Because I thought he was over 100,000 subs, but there's like 30 or 40 subs on this channel. So I thought he lost his channel at one point.
I think he may have. And I agree with Chris. I'm not a John Yates fan either, but I hate it when people take other people's content and make money off
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not a John Yates fan at all. And I was telling you guys, I thought he did a horrible interview. He didn't ask any hard questions. He was just, in my opinion, just fanboying all over him.
I was going to say he's fanboying. It was more like, I don't know. I think he was just in the moment like, oh my God, I have Paedon and someone famous on my channel. I wonder if Paedon was in chat and happened to pop on or if it was planned.
That's what it seemed like. Because John said, like, at one point, he said, like, we didn't know you were going to come on. Yeah. So I feel like John, like, was going, like, either it was, like, very quickly pre-planned, like Peyton had seen a stream he did and messaged him, was like, yo, I'll come up. Or if it was like, I'm here, you guys are talking about this stuff, let me jump in.
I think he just saw him doing a live and saw him talking about sister wives and probably popped in there and boom.
That girl, Mrs. Kickstand on TikTok, I've seen him, she'll be live just going over the show and he'll pop in and just randomly. So
yeah.
Listen, I think he's got a lot of his dad in him. He loves the limelight. He loves to be the center of attention. Mm-hmm. He's not so as far from his dad as he thinks he is.
No. Especially when it's talking about like women and relationships and gender roles and stuff. Like, I mean, he didn't say, oh, gender roles. He didn't call it out specifically, but he was like, oh, through history, women behave this way and men behave that way. And I'm not disagreeing necessarily. But you can definitely see that the influence of his father and the way that they were raised is evident.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need him to pop in here because I want to ask him the hard questions. I don't want to fangirl all over him. I want to ask him the hard stuff.
Like, oh, Paedon, thank you so much for coming. Oh, my God.
I mean, I can respect boundaries and like things he can't speak on. I totally get that.
Oh, yeah.
But like, let me ask it. And then if you can answer it or give me some semblance of an answer, cool.
Well, and my thing, too, is when he was talking about Mary being allegedly abusive, but he was abusive to his sister. So I'd like to talk to him about that because Gwen says to this day she has nothing to do with him because he hit her so hard.
And my thing about that is Mary as an adult, as a parental figure who wasn't equally, like her behavior wasn't equal across the board to all the kids versus he was a child and that was his sibling. I have thoughts on that.
What? I don't get that. What? Say that again.
like when your kids were young, if they fought with each other, you know, that's one thing. But like if you are a parent, an adult, and you don't treat all the kids the same and you go to a physical level, like the way he alluded to it was like, it wasn't just a little bit of paddling. It was extreme.
Yeah, I've got Maddie's tweet here. Let's add it.
Yeah, let's get that up here.
Can you guys see it?
Yes.
That was that tweet she did years ago where she said that Mary is, we'll say, allegedly abusive.
Well, let me refer to my notes.
Do you think Maddie meant physical or just verbal? Because Paedon says it was more than, like, implied it was physical, but with Maddie, I
think Maddie was talking about both.
So he said,
if I can read it. The first one says, try being scared of someone your whole effing life, and she plays like she's the one who's hurting. She was a monster. Now she's attacking one of the few safety nets you had? No, check again. You can't subtweet and not expect retaliation. Loyalty goes to those that were always kind. There is nothing like dealing with an abusive human your whole life and finally having the freedom not to have anything to do with her.
Yeah, so just because people are lost, I see Just Saying and Irish said they're lost. Paedon, who is Cody's only son with Christine, was in a fight with his sister Gwendolyn, and he hit her. It could have happened on various, we get the gist that it happened more than once. And then Paedon alluded to in the interview, he said that John said, so was Mary really as abrasive and mean as she came off? And Paedon said, like, those aren't strong enough words. Mary was the number one wife, like until Robin showed up, basically. And that Mary, he definitely alluded to Mary's abuse not being just emotional or whatever. And then the reason it stands out to me is that he talks about Mary being abusive. And John says, like, was it physical? And Paedon, like, he doesn't say yes, but he definitely said yes, body language and other things.
Yeah.
Right. And then John says, like, was Cody abusive? And Paedon says, no, never has been, never, ever, never hit anybody. He said he paddled me like when I was little if I was bad, or he flicked my lip if I ran my mouth, but he was never physically abusive. So that distinction for me is clear. If he's saying that Mary was physically abusive and Cody wasn't, and Cody did paddle their butts, that tells me that Mary's abuse physically was more than just a spanking.
Oh, for sure. But this thing, I think they're confused too, because I'm talking about when Paedon hit Gwen. That's been a big thing between the two of them.
Yeah, I don't know how old they were.
Well, it was only a few years ago, so they weren't little. I want to say it was 3 years ago.
Do you guys?
So Gwendolyn was a child and he wasn't.
Well, but they're older. They're teenagers.
Yeah.
And he hit her, and he admits that he hit her.
Yeah.
And she's terrified of him. She won't have anything to do with him.
Yeah. I'm not co-signing it whatsoever. But like my sister is just a couple years younger than me, and we definitely had our rows as teenagers. So like for me,
I'm the baby of 7, and if one of my brothers would have ever touched me, my dad would have gone ballistic. Because we were raised, our sisters, we fought, but our brothers could never touch us. And I raised my sons the same way. They could never, I don't care what their sisters did, they could not hit them. Yeah. Ever. To me, it's different. And he's a big guy.
He is a big guy. I just think that, like, the idea of being very small children and this woman who is a parental figure to you is purposely seeking you out and then is abusive. It's not better or worse, but it's different than siblings fighting.
Oh, for sure. I only bring it up because if I'd have been interviewing him, I would have asked him. If you're going to talk about Mary being abusive, then let's talk about you and what happened with your sister. That's just me.
Right.
To me, it's all related.
Do you remember that episode where, I don't remember where they were traveling to, but they were on one of their road trips, and Mary's yelling at the kids all together, but then
she exploded.
Yeah, in her little interview, she was like, "Yeah, I didn't realize the camera was right there." So it makes me wonder, what was she like off camera all those years? Right. I think that was the only time we ever saw her yell at them, and that's only because she wasn't aware that the camera crew was right there.
And didn't that have to do with Robin's kids? She was telling the big kids to quit picking on Robin's kids.
Yeah, well, it was a big storyline that the boys were picking on the little girls, and that, like, not the big boys, but like I think Janelle's Chew and maybe Paedon. And they even said later, like, Janelle said, like, they were picking. It wasn't like they were like beating them up or like going too hard. They were just picking a little. And because Robin's girls are little princesses, that's why they made such a big deal about it.
Yes, I think it was Brianna who was crying. I don't know if Dayton was part of that, but yeah.
First of all, Robin's girls, when they first came into the family, they seemed to cry about everything. Just my opinion.
They still do.
Paedon and Dayton had some issues early on, but that makes sense. They're same age, brand new siblings, whatever. But Dayton and Paedon became, if you remember the episode, they started like walking to the bus stop together, and they became really good friends. And in the interview, Paedon says like, no, Dayton is not my adopted brother. He's my brother. He's an incredible dude. I love him. He's great, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, kudos to him for that, because
I hated John pointing out that who was blood and who wasn't. That
me
really
too.
made me
that
mad.
Was disgusting.
Like, who cares? They're really? And he kept pointing it out more than once. Like, so now, wait, you two you're full-blooded, right? What does it matter?
I agree, Iris. Do you guys remember there was an interview with Christine a couple years back where she says the animosity between her and Mary started because she felt like Mary was way too hard on her kids.
Yes.
That she jumped in the middle of it and told Mary to leave her kids alone. And that was when the break started with her and Mary.
Yeah.
So
it's all very weird.
I think Mary was she does have a bad temper. I mean,
yeah. If you look back,
for LuLaRoe people, I'm like, I had no idea she was that mean.
Oh. Well, look how mean she is on her lives.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I didn't know she was like that to her customers of all people.
I mean, you can be a type A personality and you can be assertive and you can be dominant without being demeaning and rude and hateful.
Oh, for sure. Because I consider myself type A, but I would never be rude or hateful to anybody. Well, depending, for the most part, I wouldn't.
I mean, you get what you give in some cases, so.
Yeah. But I didn't know
there was
a lot like a creator we all know. And I was like, they are so similar. It's weird.
It's very much with Mary. Like, I think Mary just always felt like she was large and in charge, and she was first wife. And Paedon talks about in the interview that like the relationship between Mary and Cody before Robin came in, Mary was number one wife, and it was very much the pecking order and the hierarchy. Everything had to go through Mary. Mary was number one. Mary was the favorite wife. He literally says that. There was an episode a few years ago where Mary's talking about having another child, and she decides obviously not to. But she says that, she loves this family and she has all these little kids who love, she's like, I have all these little kids who love me. And if you watch that episode back when she says that, you can see Christine makes a face and Janelle rolls her eyes. And I'm like, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Now I feel like so much of what we saw with her was fake. So even on her Instagram, she's so vague and just very like, live your life, know your worth, blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was fake because like, okay, on the show, here you are begging for scraps, but yet on Instagram, you're saying, no, don't stand for that type deal. So she was very hard to figure out.
I think that Mary has not yet learned that it's okay to not be okay all the time. And I think even when she was first married to Cody, she had this idealized, vision of what her family would be and who she would be as a person. And she's very controlling. And I don't say that negatively. I mean, like, look at the way she structures her life and the way that she decorates her house. And she likes things to be, just so. It's a control thing. And I just think that, sometimes when needs aren't met, behaviors manifest. And if that's the role that Cody was okay with her taking, because it took pressure off him to be the one in control, as much as he screams about the patriarchy, I think he was okay. I mean, you cannot tell me that he lived in a house with Janelle and Mary for a whole year and didn't realize that there was something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy that.
Well, look how upset she got over the idea of not getting her wet bar in Vegas.
That was so stupid. I've never seen anything so stupid in my life. Is that
I'm not
French doors
without French doors, Cody.
Yeah. Like, she got so upset over that. I love to entertain. You can entertain without a wet bar. We do it all the time.
With Deborah saying really the whole show was fake. I was saying this to somebody the other day. We were all lied to for years, right? I'm surprised more people aren't upset because they did lie to all of us. They sold us this bill of goods that polygamy works and we're happy, and they were never happy.
No, it reminds me.
They were never happy in the beginning. We know now they were never happy in Vegas, and they certainly weren't happy in Arizona. So it was all just a big lie.
No, Arizona was the stupidest move they ever made out of probably everything.
Well, Paedon confirms that the reason that they moved to Arizona was because Dayton was going to school there, and Dayton wanted to escape. He wanted that normal thing that most young, adults do, and some space between his family. And Robin was like, no, my baby's leaving me. So she couldn't handle it.
But the thing is, what's she going to do? Say, Brianna wants to go to school in Utah or Texas, or like, is she going to follow?
They can't be moving every time a kid goes to college. And now poor Dayton's living in the RV in the driveway.
Yeah. God, I know.
Stop it.
Like, I think it'll be a money thing. I think it'll be, well, if you choose to go here, then this, that, and the other, and you'll have to get a job. And those girls aren't getting a job anytime soon. Let's just be real. Whereas, if you stay
I don't think those
home,
girls would have the guts to go away from them.
No, I mean, there might be a random breakaway, but
we can hope.
No, I think they're her mama's girls, and they're not gonna wait. I mean, who would? You live in a McMansion. Your mom is the favorite, so she gets everything she wants. Like, mother, I always say, like, mother is God in the eyes of a child. They would definitely not see any of the negative. They just think their mom's a victim. So they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, Robin says he has Asperger's, which now they just call it autism, and that he's on the spectrum. But he seems very high functioning. He reminds me of my niece that I've raised since she was a kid. She's very high functioning too. She went to college. She works. Her only struggle is she can't drive a car. She can, but not very well. Right. She has a hard time doing multitasking. She can't multitask.
Yeah. Can you imagine when Dayton gets married someday? Like, his poor wife.
Having Robin as a mother-in-law.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, holy Moses.
Good luck to her.
Well, Peyton was saying that Dayton wanted to get away.
Yeah.
And then they followed him. And the hypocrisy of her putting Janelle down for living in a beautiful, huge RV versus putting her son in a tiny one in the driveway. Come on.
Yeah. I like the RV. Like, Janelle's RV, I thought it was really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Especially, she said it was brand new, and, it was just for her and Savannah. Like, I mean...
And I think Savannah hated it.
Well, remember when they first moved out there, I think Mary even entertained the idea about living in an RV, and Cody was high-fiving her, and then all of a sudden I would never live in an RV. I'm too good for that.
Right.
It's like, oh, you'll say it until you have to. Okay.
Well, and here's my question. My question about that is, if Savannah is Robin's daughter, and she's so unhappy about living in an RV with her bio mom.
She's Janelle's daughter.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying in the essence of polygamy, she's Robin's daughter too, just as much as she is Janelle.
Sure. Yeah, I gotcha.
Why didn't Robin say, well, Savannah, come live with me, because my girls are the same age and your sisters, and I live in a 27-room McMansion. There's plenty of room for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, because she did remember McKelty lived with her.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing with Truly, they were talking about, Cody talked about how it was going to be like, oh, now I have to find room for Truly somewhere. And I'm like, Dude.
See, I never understood that. Like, she's just a little kid. You could put her anywhere.
Well, he wanted 50-50 with her all of a sudden, but if you're going to want her 50% of the time, she needs a room. So
well, yeah.
That's his way of getting out of having to pay any kind of child support. Because if he can claim he's 50% already supporting the child, then child support in his mind would not be applicable.
But sadly, I don't think Christine would ever go for child support. She should, but I don't think she will.
Well, I heard a little rumor, and I think I sent it to you guys, a screenshot. Or I have it still. The 3 wives who have left are considering all teaming up and getting one lawyer to make sure that they get some money out of the situation, since they've contributed so much over time to the family, but none of them are legal wives well, Mary's not a legal wife anymore, and Janelle and Christine never were. But it's, how reports sometimes aren't always 100% true. I don't know, but that they're considering doing that. And Janelle's kind of been the bridge between Christine and Mary, to secure that they get their worth out of things, because, Christine gave up Coyote Pass, so there's nothing she can do. But Janelle and Mary have not given up their shares of Coyote Pass. And I'm sure, just humanly, Cody probably doesn't want to live on top of 2 ex-wives with his, other wife. So there is that rumor floating around that they are considering what they can do legally, because, again, they didn't have legal marriages. So, in Utah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true that they've actually talked to attorneys. Really, the one with the biggest case is Janelle. Yeah. Because she's got to get her money out of Robin's house so she can move on with her life.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I thought was interesting, speaking of lawyers, was Hayden said basically that his dad had been talking to TLC, not lawyers, but like the higher ups, producers and, executives or whatever, because he wanted his older children who are, out of the house to sign an NDA so they couldn't speak negatively publicly about him or Robin. And both Christine and TLC shot that down.
Yeah, it's TLC.
Yeah, I was surprised TLC shot it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, after what they did to Jill Duggar, I mean.
Yeah. I was shocked that they didn't want to do it. See, that's why I was worried about Gwen when she first started talking. Remember, I was like, I hope she doesn't have some kind of agreement with TLC, or that it would hurt Christine's agreement with them. Because I'm kind of surprised they don't have that in there. Because I know that before, none of them could talk on social media. But maybe now that the kids were adults, maybe that's all.
I think maybe TLC learned their lesson from the Duggar situation, and they're like weighing their pros and cons here. And Cody and his family are only as valuable to TLC as what they can make off them. And we know people like drama and they like, whatever. So Cody trying to like quiet them doesn't pay off for anybody except for him.
Yeah.
And TLC is like, nah, let's see what happens here. Let's let it go, because then it could be addressed on the show.
Yeah, because
TLC, true, Valerie, they may like the drama.
Because in between seasons, obviously TLC wants everyone to keep talking about their network and the shows. So if you silence them, people are going to be like, okay, well, what do you do until the new season? I'm just hoping that we get caught up on the times and not be a year behind so much.
Right.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah, I think Irish, maybe they learned, like they said, from the Duggars, because that all went south. That was terrible that they were paying their dad for those adult women. And here she gave birth on camera and got nothing. God.
It's ridiculous.
That's why I said I hope McKelty got double the money for having her twins.
Yeah.
Well, that's why McKelty and Cody, or not McKelty and Cody, McKelty and Tony said that, they came back to the show. They made sure that they were getting their own check, and like Tony gets his own check. McKelty gets her own check. They made sure to like protect their own
yeah.
you know, interests when it came to this stuff. So I don't blame them. You know, I watched where she had what's the little girl's name? McKelty's oldest daughter.
Avalon.
I watched the scenes where she had Avalon. No way would I ever let anybody videotape that and air it to national TV unless you were giving me a good size check.
But
Like,
if
no
they're
way.
going to, they need to be getting major money.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you see he needs the money to surgically remove the knife from his kidney?
Oh God, that's hilarious.
He's such a drama queen, I swear.
I was like, did he practice that before? Did he practice?
And then there's people that think that he's acting for the camera, and I think he was acting all these years, and now
yes,
he's tired.
Now you're seeing the real Cody.
Yeah.
Well, the money train is stopping. I think it's the money thing that's making him upset. He's like, oh my God, this unified perfect family unit that I could sell is now, you know, these wives are leaving. He's talked about money enough to make it clear. He's worried about money.
Mm-hmm. Well, and same with Robin. When she says her dream, it's like, well, her dream was probably very lavish, involving.
Listen, Robin's going to have to go to work. The working, money-making wives are gone. She's going to have to go to work.
Well, Hayden talked about that too. Let me find my notes here.
Find your note.
My notes. Peyton says that Robin, you know, because Cody says basically like Robin sacrificed so much to come into the family. And Peyton says like Robin ruined the family. He says that Cody gave up his family for Robin and her kids. He says that Robin has had she had a job before like they moved up to be closer. But she hated the job and she like where she lives. So that was no sacrifice. Peyton said that Robin absolutely saw Cody as someone who would work and support her and her kids, and that she's had a couple little jobs early on once they were courting and married, but that it never lasted long, and that she can't keep a job, and basically she married Cody for the money.
Yeah, I have no doubt. But you know, in their community, that's common. And see, I think this is what a lot of people forget, is that this goes back to being a fundamentalist Mormon. People forget that they're Mormon.
Yeah.
That this whole thing, you know, back when the show started, it was all about their religion and church at home and all this. And as the years went on, they got further and further away from their religion.
Yeah.
And you could see it starting to crumble. And that's why I say when he took those women and moved them to Vegas, that was the worst thing he ever did. He took them away from their community, their church, their family, their religion. And that's when it all was crumbling.
I mean, of all the places,
how many people don't understand that they are Mormon.
That's of all the places that they could move to as, you know, conservative, especially Mormonism has a big, I don't know if you call it a theological standpoint, but they very much encourage like financial wellness and financial security and like saving and being not on any kind of subsidy or, you know, social assistance or whatever. That's one of the big things that the Mormon Church has even like criticized fundamentalists for, is because like, how can you have 37 children and 5 wives and not need some kind of governmental assistance? They don't necessarily shame.
But Cody's wives used to be on public assistance until the show.
Yeah.
They were on food stamps and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you imagine being 32 grand in the hole and then just having it all paid off by your new family?
Yeah. Robin got a heck of a deal.
All the time.
I mean, if somebody wants to do a pickle TV show, it's not going to be very exciting, but like, I'd take it in a heartbeat. I don't blame them for that whatsoever.
I do feel bad. I think all the boys want their dad back. And I feel like he missed their most important years because I feel like boys need their dad more in those teen to adult years.
Yes.
And it's sad to me that they don't get that.
Well, there was an episode where Paedon was visiting Janelle's house and Gabe and Garrison were having a fight. And they were upstairs in the bedroom fighting about like a game, like, video game or whatever. And he made Janelle go deal with it. And she went up there to their bedroom like 3 or 4 times. And then finally I remember it so vividly. He's sitting on the couch at the bottom of the stairs so he can hear all of it on his computer. And he like doesn't even look at Janelle. He does like a side eye and he's like, they're not going to want me to have to come deal with that. And I'm like, dude, bro, you are the father of these teenage boys. You should have been up those stairs quicker than Janelle.
First, yeah.
Absolutely. My other problem, and I love Janelle, but I got so irritated with her when she said about the patriarchy. She was like, well, I never signed up for that. And that is a blatant lie because the whole fundamentalist Mormon religion is based on patriarchy. She knew that.
But you don't know what
she didn't.
What bill of goods Cody and might have sold her. He might have said like, because early on in the show they would talk about how it's a girls' club and how polygamy is actually better for women because their version of polygamy, to be clear, not the FLDS necessarily, but like women had more freedom and they could go do what they wanted to do and they didn't have to do this. And I wonder if that's something that Cody said, like, we're going to do this different. We're going to be the family that makes it, blah, blah, blah.
I don't think so, because if you go back to the early episodes, they're much more in tune with the patriarchy and following what Cody tells them to do. I mean, look, he sold them this bill of goods that they were going to get arrested and had to move to Vegas, which I think that whole thing was made up to kickstart his show.
Yeah.
So they were definitely letting Cody take the lead, just like a patriarchy would.
I have to drop for a second, but I'll be right back.
All right, Lovey.
Okay.
But you guys kind of got free to disagree with me.
I think she probably she had a different idea of a patriarchy. Like, I think she thought it was more of a family unit and the husband just kind of leads the way. But Cody's idea of patriarchy also seems to be like what he wants. Like when he says, I'm going to start being the leader of my family again. I feel like he was saying, I'm tired of everyone doing what they want and not listening to me, because his list of rules and all that, everyone was just like, we're not doing this. And I think in his mind, he's like, I should have enforced it more. I should have, I don't know, but I shouldn't have let my wives be so independent. It's like, well,
and see, I think that goes back to their religion, because even the regular, in my opinion, even the regular Mormon church is very much a patriarchy. Women have no power in that church, in my opinion. It's very much all geared to benefit the men.
Oh, for sure.
So then when you get into the fundamentalist Mormonism, then it's times a million. Now you're really in the patriarchy and everything is for the man, obviously, because he can have, well, they sell him this bill of goods that you can't go to heaven unless you have at least 3 wives.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any more patriarchy than that. And I love Janelle, but I'm like, girl,
I think she's just fed up with him in general. And she's just like, I didn't sign up for this miserable life type deal. And
I think because they got away from so much of their religion while they were in Vegas. I think the rules got relaxed. They weren't doing church all the time like they used to.
Well, for Robin to say you're supposed to treat your husband like your best customer, like, is this a business deal arrangement that they've all got going on? Because I've never heard anyone refer to it that way.
Yeah, because those, I think he married Mary because he was in puppy love with her. They were both so young. Janelle was obviously an arranged marriage. Christine was an arranged marriage, which Cody almost admitted to on that last episode when he talked about, well, she was royalty. We didn't even know each other. So when we got married, we're just looking at each other like, who are you?
Yeah.
So
they talk about,
feel like he was really ever in love with was Robin.
Yeah. They talk about in the book how like he and Mary would just quit their jobs and go, you know, visit his parents in Wyoming and just whatever. And I think the way he like started his relationship with Janelle is he would go see her at work. And Janelle talks about like, I just bought myself a new car and I was doing this and da 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 da. And I really think that he was looking for wives who could, I mean, and I can't totally kick him for it because like nobody wants to be with a bum who doesn't do anything. And I can't imagine the pressure of like having 3 or 4 or 17 wives that don't work. I'm sure it's like, you know, whatever. But like, I think that Janelle, he saw like, oh, I know she's, you know, dutiful and I know that she's committed and I know this and she's got some money. And like I said, Janelle's had a lot of hustles in her lifetime. She's got businesses that like, unless you are distinctly looking for that, you wouldn't even know they exist. And I think she was the money man.
Which is so funny that he's shocked that she's so independent. It's like she worked all those years.
I will say she's always been more independent because when she left him before, how long? She was gone for like 2 years, wasn't she, Pickle?
She was gone. She had bought a house. She had bought a new car. Her kids were, you know, she was sending them to, you know, latchkey or daycare or, you know, babysitter, whatever, on her own. Cody did not contribute whatsoever financially to her. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't like buy the kids food once in a while or, you know, I don't know the intimate details, but like she was doing it 100% on her own. And she had Logan and Madison and Hunter at the time because Gabe and Garrison were like, there's a big difference in age if you look between Hunter and Gabe and Garrison. Not like 10 years, but I'm saying like there's, you know, boom, 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 the first 3 kids, and then there's this, you know, pause. And I think that the 2 boys were like, oh, we're back together. We're so committed to our relationship. Let's connect again. And then she got pregnant, you know, subsequently. She doesn't need them. She has her own line of like health food and supplements, not the Plexus, like her own. I don't know if it's it's not Plexus. I don't know if it's an MLM, and I don't know if today right this second
with these MLMs, but it's the Mormon Way.
It is the Mormon Way
for women.
Yeah, because they're encouraged to stay home, but it's impossible. You know, Mormons typically have more children as well because their theology is that these souls are in heaven waiting for their chance to come to earth so that they can then return to heaven. Which, you know, they're not the only ones. Catholics, you know, believe, you know, in something similar when it comes to like large families, obviously the Duggars. So non-Catholics and non-Mormons also believe this, but you know,
lots. And that's what I was going to say. There's lots of religions that are based on patriarchy too. I lived with, you know, in a whole town of apostolic Christians. It's the same thing that the husband leads, the wife does what he says, the kids do what they say, and everybody stays in this line.
Yeah. And 50 years ago, 70 years ago, that kind of worked. But in this day and age, you know, I'm in a 1-income household with no kids, and we struggle all the time. And you know, it's not easy to be in especially with 4 wives. No, that's not possible.
I agree, Valerie. And you can see Janelle just kicking herself in that solo interview when she's going, I cannot believe I've got myself in this position where I have no assets. I just wanted to cry for her because she knew she screwed up.
I think the RV was a moment of insecurity. Not that she was insecure in who she is as a person, but I think she was like, holy crap, what if I can't get a house or an apartment? I don't want to be homeless. This ensures that she won't be.
I think too, she regretted buying the RV. I think it was a snap decision. I don't think Janelle usually jumps on things like that, but I think she was so upset about not having her own place that she kind of jumped on that, and it kind of screwed her in the end. But hopefully she can sell it. I don't know, even if she still has it. So
she does.
She needs to sell it.
Well, I think it was also Cody's lack of. It was almost like he was like, oh, you'll find a rental, you'll find something. And she's like, I need something now. I can't just, you know, you've got a place to live. I don't. So
well,
like,
and she
wait for you.
That was like her second move after moving to Flagstaff. They got to be sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's Paedon said in the interview that, you know, Dad has this 7-year itch and he wants to move and go. And they did a lot of moving when they were younger before they settled in the Utah home with 3 different, you know, apartments essentially. But I think Janelle has always felt a little, you know, she talks about her childhood and, you know, her father passed away early on. Her mom was kind of a rolling stone herself. And I think Janelle's always needed some stability in a home sense. And I think that she just, you know, after all these years, she panicked. And she realized that Cody was no longer thinking like, we move as a family, where we go one, we go all, as he says. I think she was like, holy crap, he's not worried about me at all. I have to do something for myself. And out of panic, she did it.
Yeah, I do too. I think it was an impulse thing and a panic, and it's just too bad it turned out. You know, if they could have got utilities, it wouldn't have been so bad to live in that RV. That's what screwed it up, is that they couldn't get utilities.
I also wonder if she did it as like a test to see like if it would really push him to start trying to build. And it didn't do that at all. If anything,
like, how could you sit and watch your wife live like that and not want to do something?
Yeah. And it's like, how do you have the money to buy Christine's house plus pay off the land? But then when it came to her being like, okay, pay off my lot so we can start building, he's like, well, we still wouldn't be able to build for a year. And it's like, how do you have money for all that, but not for her to start building?
He doesn't want to build until Robin
on that land. Does anybody here think they're ever going to build on that land?
No.
No, I think that Cody and Robin will sell it now that the other wives are gone.
All he does out there is play with the logs. That's all he does out there.
Well,
look at the mountains.
That's why they say they couldn't get utilities, because he cut down too many of the trees. And I didn't realize till they did that long shot. Did you guys see? He did.
Yes.
Cut down a ton of trees. I didn't realize they had cut down that many.
Remember, he was moving his truck. He had a single log he was pulling. Like, what is his deal with these logs?
But see, what surprises me is, you know, the owner financed this deal, and that's why they can't do anything till they pay him
so
off.
they don't even own it.
No. So I'm shocked he let them cut down all those trees.
Right. And you don't know, he might be, you know, PO'd about that. That might be part of the problem, because if they don't, like, they don't get money back. Like, when you do owner financing, whatever your down payment is or whatever, there's usually within the contract a time limit. So, like, if you are buying the property and after, you know, a year or 2 years or whatever the case may be, you have not paid it off and you don't want it anymore, you don't get that money back. It's not like the guy's gonna be like, well,
no,
you don't pay it back.
Away with nothing.
Right.
Janelle should have said she would move into the mansion. See, that's the thing. Robin was the one, all for one big house. So why can't Janelle move in with her?
This is Robin's master plan all along. I used to try to hold out hope for her that, like, maybe it wasn't as nefarious, but the stuff that's come out from the kids, so I believe them, because they're holding back. They're not just dishing.
See, I was the same way. I was hoping it wasn't as bad as we thought. Now we find out it's actually worse.
Yeah.
When she made the comment about the weight and stretch marks, I was like, okay, Robin, you've gained weight too, and I'm sure you've got some new stretch marks.
Yeah.
How are you even saying that?
Yeah, there's no way after 5 kids she doesn't have.
No.
She's gained quite a bit of weight. If you look back at her when she first joined, she was very thin.
Oh, I mean, I would say 50, 60 pounds she's gained.
Yeah.
And the kicker is, and I'm like, where's the delusion in this, people? Early on, when Robin first married Cody, they were talking about, like, how she has a hard time eating certain foods and her stomach. She talks about her and Brianna. She says, me and Brianna have really hard time with certain foods and blah, blah, blah. She doesn't say that there's any, like, you know, she doesn't give it a name. But it goes to a scene where it's Cody with the 4 wives on the couch. And Mary says, well, Cody actually likes his women with a little more weight on them. He doesn't like necessarily the super skinny body type. And Robin's like, yeah, that's why I've been trying, to like eat a little more or like whatever. Da, da. And I'm like, how can you sit there knowing that you said that at one time in history? Because it's, right there. And that's my biggest problem. I know this is stupid, but I don't think that Mary is like super attractive. I love Janelle, but she's not the skinny one. I don't get how Cody can say anything negative about Christine and her weight and him being grossed out, because like to me, Christine looks the best. I'm like, she's hot mama. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially now.
But Christine was quite a bit heavier before.
Yeah.
Over the years.
She wasn't. She was
like all
younger.
of us. She's lost weight, gained weight, lost weight. Like we all do.
When I feel like Robin had more opportunity to like focus on herself because everyone else was watching her kids. Whereas Christine had to, right after she had Truly, she was still working and then taking care of the kids. So it's like, where did she have time for herself?
Right.
Well, and she says now she had postpartum depression, which partly was caused by Robin coming in right when she was having Truly. That would do it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, how many women at 9 months pregnant and then the first 6 months to a year afterwards are already insecure? Their bodies have changed. They've got all those extra hormones going on. And then to see your husband, who is your whole world, in love with this younger, thinner woman. And they don't, they talk about, we don't show affection in front of each other. But like I saw Cody do it plenty of times with Robin in front of the other wives.
Yeah.
So like, I cannot imagine how that would have compounded those already natural things that you can't necessarily, deal with other than just going through it.
I agree with just saying, I would think they could only eke out one more season, but I've been saying this for the last couple of years and it keeps going on. So I don't know.
I think they'll go to 20 and then call it.
You think they'll make it to 20?
Yeah, for sure.
But what was the storyline? Like the next storyline is going to have to be all of them breaking up, right?
It's got,
If they do season 18, I'm sure it'll cover like.
Well, they're already
filming.
They're doing it, yeah.
And with everything that's happened just within the last year alone, I think they have enough footage. Or maybe they'll show, because this season was mostly about how everything unfolded with his split from Christine. And then now he's basically split from Janelle. And then now Mary, I think they'll have plenty of footage. And then,
I think they'll have plenty for one more season. But then after this season, where do you go from there?
Right.
Because I can't imagine Janelle and Mary are going to stay in Flagstaff. They're probably going to move to Utah.
The whole premise, is this big family and the multiple relationships in it. And Cody has regularly, it's not Sister Wives if it's about Robin and her kids. And she won't even let them film in the house. So like, are we going to see them sitting outside by Dayton's RV, sipping tea, talking smack about other people? Because that's all I can see it being. Like Peyton said in the interview.
Vlogs. That's what they'll do.
Yeah. Peyton said in the interview that Cody did try to kick. Now, imagine being a mother here. Cody did try to kick Janelle's two older boys. Not older boys, the boys at home, Gabriel and Garrison, out. But it wasn't because of COVID. It was because one of them, I think Garrison, had basically like bucked on Robin about something. And he went to Janelle like in her face and said, don't ever let me find the direct quote. I got it here somewhere. I just wrote it down. He was like, don't let those boys ever talk to the woman I love like that again.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, are you kidding? Those are your children. Oh, it's sick.
Wow.
Well, Deborah, Robin didn't rack up all these Victoria's Secret bills for nothing.
Well, Peyton says that she's a hoarder. Peyton says that she's a hoarder, and that when she first moved from wherever she was living before Cody to that little house, like 2 blocks away from the main house, that he and one of his brothers, I think Hunter maybe, had moved a rug that she had bought that was still wrapped in plastic out of her house into her new little house. And then when they moved to Vegas, they moved that rug still wrapped in plastic into her Vegas rental. And then they moved that rug still wrapped in plastic into her Vegas home. And then he said that when they moved to Flagstaff, Garrison texted him and was like, "You will not believe this, but that same rug still wrapped in plastic, I moved into the Flagstaff house." So he's like, that's an indication, because like she's got things that have never been opened.
I know that
there's
there's been a lot of rumors that she's a big hoarder. I don't know.
For sure. That's why she won't let anybody film in her house.
Well, the couple times they did, though, it didn't look like a hoarder's house, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Hey, bossy. Well, I'm glad you got your infusion.
Hey,
the
boss.
whole Victoria's Secret, I feel like that also has to do with, because she likes nice things, like she likes nice brands and nice stuff. So I feel like
well, she even said that.
Yeah.
In the tell-up, remember, she goes, "Well, I just have more expensive taste."
She said she was buying expensive jeans because it was the only brand that fit her body type.
Oh, please.
Really? Really?
Yeah,
like
only Victoria's Secret fits her body type too.
Louis Vuitton is the only thing that fits me. So y'all should take pity on me and send me any Louis Vuitton funds you have. I'm living so hard these days without Louis.
Yeah, like she's always like she's the only wife that was not just the couch interviews, but she was the only one that always had her hair curled or makeup done and all. I'm like, have we ever seen her in like sweats and a t-shirt?
Disheveled, yeah.
Mary does that too, though. And Mary, they used to tease Mary because they said she would get up like 2 hours early in the morning because she wouldn't let them film her without makeup on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get that though. Like some people, you know, I used to be like that. I wouldn't leave the house without makeup on. Now I just, you know, there's no amount of makeup that could save me. But
see, I was never like that. I liked wearing makeup, but I would leave the house without it. I didn't care.
Remember when Robin was sick in bed and she didn't have makeup on? I thought she looked better than when she has
her eyebrows.
I mean, she did her hair and makeup to have those babies, and I was like, for real? I mean, I've never had a child, but like, you can believe if I ever had to go through that, I would not. I'd be looking rough. There's just no way. But I don't buy the Robin's Victoria's Secret thing, because if you watch some of those middle episodes, like not the early years, but maybe like pre-Vegas one season in Vegas, they all wore silver jeans, every single one of them ladies. So there's, you know, those aren't cheap by any means, but like there's other jeans that could fit her.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When she had her, I'm like, her natural eyebrows are just fine. Why does she stamp on her eyebrows and look in the mirror and like, yep, good to go?
I mean,
I think they all got those eyebrow stamps because McKelty's doing it too, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah. I think they all took
quit using those stamps.
They took makeup lessons from Mary and her 3 shades too dark foundation.
It used to be really orange, though. It's gotten a little bit better.
Yeah.
Remember when her daughter teased her about those pencil thin eyebrows? At least
Oh yeah, that was.
Her daughter was so mean to her.
Oh, yeah.
I'm mean to her. If I had all that money, I said I'm mean to her. If I had all that money and I was concerned about my looks, the first thing I would do, if I were Mary, would be get that tooth fixed.
Someone said that she did get it fixed, and I'm like, no, she didn't.
No, she didn't.
Like, it looks the same to me. Did she go like one shade lighter, or
even if it's not cosmetic, like even if it's for like it's got to be unhealthy. There's got to be an underlying issue. I'm not a dentist, so I don't know, but
yeah, because one of my sister's ex-boyfriends, he had the same thing, just one. I'm like, what? How does that happen? I'm really curious.
I'm sure it's probably like something genetic. If it's not all teeth, it would have to be, you know, but I would still go get it fixed.
Did you all notice on TikTok they're playing all the audio of Mary with her catfish?
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
It's so funny. I was gonna download one to play on here, and then I was like, that's so mean, but I wanted to, but I didn't. But yeah.
She was really head over heels for
Yes, she was.
My,
That's why I say that would. I don't care that they didn't touch physically. That was an affair. It was.
Oh yes.
mm-hmm.
To me, it's worse because, like, you know, I don't want anybody to be cheated on, but like if somebody gets drunk at a party and does something to me, that's more forgivable than someone who has an emotional, deep, loving affair.
Yeah.
That's a betrayal that's unforgivable.
This is why I've said once Cody heard those voicemails, he was never going to take her back ever.
Yeah,
I think that's what happened. He heard those voicemails and he's like, nope, never again.
And I think that was ego driven more than anything.
Yeah. Because it goes back to the whole patriarchy thing. To a Mormon man, if your wife steps out on you, you will never go back there.
Right. She's betrayed everything.
And she knows that because she was raised Mormon. So I don't know why she acts like she thought they'd actually get back together. She knew it was never going to happen.
Remember at that restaurant when he said the idea of her being with another man just sickened him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was, oh, that's disgusting.
Mm-hmm. And it was weird because
vulgar.
They're not videos, Irish. They're audios. You can listen to them on TikTok of her, Mary, talking to the catfish that she thought was a man and telling him how great he is, how much she loves him. He's so much better looking than Cody.
Yeah. She tries to make it out like they were just friends, but then the audios came out and there's no denying that it was romantic.
Very sexual.
Yeah.
For me, the betrayal. Go ahead, baby. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was
going to say, oh, go.
I was just going to say at first I was confused because remember he was saying like, you know, I feel like it's partially my fault. I didn't give her enough attention. It was a friendship. And then it's like, how do you go from that to wanting nothing to do with her? And then the audio.
Yeah, because I think he heard those audios.
Yeah, they came out later. Like he was willing to forgive, and then the audios came out, and then they didn't come out all at once. It was like 2 or 3, and then more, and then more, and then the tabloids picked it up, and it was all. There was no way that he could avoid listening to them because I'm sure he probably, as a human, as a man, as a husband, was like, well, I have to listen to this. Or maybe Robin listened to him, was like, yo, you got to hear these.
Oh, I'm sure. Because, you know, that's somebody on Facebook messaged me again. Because last time we did Sister Wives, remember we were talking about, I was talking about the, oh my gosh, that friend of Robin's that was all in the thick of that catfish thing. Kendra. Thank you.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking about that? Mm-hmm. So somebody messaged me on Facebook who I don't know saying absolutely Robin was, you know, like pushing Kendra to get that and get Mary involved in all that. And then she was in on all of it coming out. I believe it now. I do. I do believe Robin was pushing that whole thing.
Absolutely. Oh, not the bananas.
Irish, I can't believe you haven't heard them. You've never heard the audios? Girl, you got to go listen to them.
She just saw
Google it.
The banana photo. Wasn't there other photos too?
Oh yeah, she did the cleavage shot and her in the bathtub, and that's why I said it was very sexual.
See, I never saw those, but I just saw the banana one.
No, she was sending lots of pictures.
I'm really
surprised she didn't. You know that person is still going on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
that catfish lady. She's still scamming people. I can't believe it.
She's a Looney Tune.
It's crazy to me.
I bet she feels like emboldened, like I got Mary Brown. I can take down anybody.
Well, now she's doing these giveaway scams. She's pretending to be somebody giving money away to people that need it. I don't know. Progressive knows all about it. It's too bad she's not here because she's been following it and trying to get her in trouble. And it's a whole big thing where she pretends to give people money. And I don't know.
And people know who she is, but still pay attention to her.
Yeah, Iris, how many people here in voice and chat think that Robin set up the whole catfish thing? I do.
I need to look down that rabbit hole because I haven't gone down that one.
I didn't used to think. Now, I think Mary met the person on Twitter just like she says they met. But I think once Robin found out and then got Kendra involved, I think she was all up in it.
Well, and what Paedon said makes sense. If Mary was not nice to the kids and supposedly Robin saw that and was not happy about it, it makes more sense in the sense that maybe she wanted a way to get Mary out without causing making it like Mary's fault instead of everyone blaming her. But I don't know.
I get it. Valerie's like, I kind of do. I get it because us normal people can't wrap our head around doing something so evil and revengeful. We just can't wrap our head around it, but it does happen.
It's one of those where, like, I don't know if I think she did, but if it came out she in fact did, it wouldn't surprise me.
If you ever get time, watch those videos of Kendra talking to the catfish person. I can't remember her name now. But they're on TikTok. You can find them on TikTok. They got a whole series of them. Find them on there, and you'll see the line being crossed.
Did it start with an L? Her real name?
Gosh, I can't think of it now.
Why am I thinking Linda?
Well, let me know if you can come back, Pickle. I'll post the link again, or anybody else that wants to come chat.
Iris doesn't know about the bananas either? Don't you have the photo?
Irish, you were here when we talked about the bananas.
Yeah.
You sent him a picture of her eating a banana.
Don't you have that picture?
I might still have it. Let me see.
That's to blow your mind. Oh, so awkward. Yeah, Valerie, I think that was her plan too. Or at the very least, I think she wanted to be the number one wife, and she definitely accomplished that. Oh, if you have it, you have to show it. Sam wrote a whole book about it? I didn't know that. I want to read that now. Wait, what's your emoji? I can't see that. Oh, banana. Yeah, it was her trying to be all seductive while eating a banana.
Ah, dang it. I can't find it. I thought I still had it on my desktop. I must have deleted it. Yeah. She sent him a picture of her. Well, you know, I have to be careful how I say it, but you can imagine what you would do with a banana if you sent it to your boyfriend seductively. Why did this banana always come up?
I want to see if there's a Google image of it. So far, no.
It's hard to find. It was
scrubbed from the internet
because it was so hard to find.
Oh, Jackie Overton. That was her name.
That's her name.
Oh, I see part of the picture.
I don't know how she got it taken off the internet.
Well, I'm seeing part of it, but you see her mouth with it, but not her eyes.
Yeah, I think that's all she wanted seen.
I'm going to send it to you in Discord.
Let me see if I can get it. Y'all talk amongst yourselves while I see if I can get this picture.
You want me to send you the one I can see?
Yeah, send that one. It's better than nothing.
Okay. So I feel like she had it scrubbed from the internet. But if the voicemails are on there, that's probably worse than the picture.
Yeah, I can't believe you guys haven't heard those. I remember listening to him years ago because I was deep down it. You know, I was in it.
Oh, just saying posted it in Discord.
Let me check.
Yeah,
Did you put it in general?
Yeah.
Oh, there.
It's the same one I was going to send you.
I can't.
Can you post it or will YouTube
Yeah, I think so. When I quit laughing.
They're terrifying.
Oh.
You won't look at Mary the same way again.
It's not very big, though.
That's what
Can you guys see it? Play it for peer
That's our dear Mary. I mean, if you were a guy and you got that picture, would you like it?
I mean, what else are you going to think when you get this picture from your...
I don't know, because it seems like a stereotype. Like women think like if I put a thingy shaped food in my mouth, the guy's going to go crazy over it. And I feel like some are just not it. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
but think about it. She's been with Cody for so long, and then you're trying to be sexy, and
Well, she said she went 10 years at least without any action. So
at least I would say. I shall name that just the tip.
Ew. Poor banana.
You guys are killing me.
That's
it's so bad. It always comes back to the dang banana. I'm telling you.
It does. I bet she's... Well, could you imagine though, like also thinking that it was private and then now the whole world can see it? I'd be so mortified.
Oh, I think she was in a deep depression over it. You could see it in the show how depressed she was. Especially once things with her and Cody changed, when he heard all those messages and then he wasn't so nice to her anymore.
Yeah. Ew, just saying, really?
Just saying, always got to get down to the nitty gritty. Girl. she goes for those details, TMI.
I mean, she's not wrong, but still. Well, now I'm like, okay, if Mary is officially done with Cody, is she going to go out and get some to be officially done? Or is she just going to still keep...
I would imagine. I mean, she's still young enough to find somebody. That's what I'm saying. I don't think she'll stay in Flagstaff. There's nothing really there for her.
No.
Except that she loves Robin's kids so much. But
that's why part of me thinks that she's like, they're finally admitting they're done. They're not going back. But I still feel like she will stick around just to be able to see Robin and the kids. And I don't think she wants to give up on Cody. I really don't.
I can imagine, though. It's like Christine said, why would you want to live there and watch a fully functional marriage?
Yeah.
And you have nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to watch that.
It's like
I could see her moving to be by I don't know how to say her daughter's name anymore. Leon? Is it Leon? Yeah. I wanted to bring that up why Pickle was on here too. They never talk about Leon anymore. No. And I don't know if that's because he asked or they asked. I'm so bad at that. Sorry.
Well, someone
said they asked him not to talk about them, or...
Well, Cody, I don't know if it was Cody or someone else, but they said Leon is struggling to fit in with the family. So I don't know what that means exactly.
And I know they were going at it with Paedon. See, Paedon's been a lot of center of a lot of trouble in the family between kids and stuff like that.
They're in Denver now. They're not even in Utah like they were.
No, they moved again. They're not in Chicago anymore.
No, they remember on the show they said they were moving back to Utah, and then I think
they moved again.
Yeah, I think in June they moved to Denver.
Denver, that's right.
Yeah. So
you would think it would be a kind of a cool thing to have on the show, but I totally get it if they said because that's a hard time they're going through. I'm sure maybe they just didn't want it on the show, but it's weird to have Mary on there and never refer to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she could talk about it without even talking about them transitioning or whatever, just talking about your child like we all do.
Yeah.
It was weird for me to see Mary go through her whole season not talking about her child.
She felt like a whole piece of furniture this season, even at the
she hardly said any. Even in the group things, she just sat there and didn't say anything. It was weird.
The biggest part for her was probably when her mom passed. Other than that, there wasn't much to her.
Yeah. And that was horrible. I could not believe she had to do that by herself.
I know.
As much as I don't like Mary, somebody should have gone with her.
I know.
That somebody should have been Cody.
That's what I mean. Because I know it sounded like she had to just kind of get in her car and go because she was running out of time. But Cody still should have been like, hey, I'll be up there in a few hours. Like, I'll be behind you. But
Yeah, I have nothing else but respect for her and her family and the years they've been together.
yeah.
That's terrible.
And he even said he fell in love with Bonnie before Mary. So that makes it seem like they were pretty close.
Yeah.
But didn't
And
he go
to his friend's wedding?
Yeah. And if you notice
That makes sense.
when Isabel told him she was going to North Carolina and Christine was like, if you want to, come drive with us or you can fly. And he's like, well, I'm still worried about COVID and da-da. But then that was around the same time he went to the wedding. I think it was only.
Yeah, it seemed like they were really close.
Yeah. So I'm like, how is it you weren't safe or you didn't feel safe enough to drive and stop at gas stations, but you were able to go to a wedding and dance with people a few months later? It doesn't make
and that dancing was ridiculous. Oh my gosh.
That was not dancing. That was him throwing a fit.
Irish, I agree. Irish said Cody told her years ago to move to her Airbnb. He told her on the porch 3 houses ago he was done. I agree, but he still used her money. Yeah. She kicked in on Robin's house. She paid for the property. He apparently it was okay to still take her money even though he was done with her. But I do agree.
He would have been like, okay, I get all that, but I don't want you to go without and hold on to me when I'm not, it ain't going to happen. But he didn't do that. He just kind of.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think he kept dangling a carrot in front of her.
I do too. And I was going to say that part where they were talking about he was going to get back with Mary. That was horrible. That never happened. Things that never happened for $100 was Cody was going to get back with Mary and Christine talked him out of it. That was such BS.
Well, I had a theory about that today because I was like you and was like, that never happened. But because I finally got my sister to start watching the new season and I was watching the first episode and remember when he says, well, Mary and I aren't intimate, but she's okay with it. And Christine's like, I don't want that. And I wouldn't even want that for you and her to have. So then I thought, well, maybe he did approach her with the idea or said, what if I get back with Mary? And because at the tell-all, she didn't deny that they talked. She just said her words got twisted. So I was like, maybe he said that. But then she was like, well, if you're going to work on your whatever with Mary, like, what about us? Like, we've got stuff to work on too. We haven't been intimate, we're this and that. And maybe that's what she meant by like getting upset. But he took it as like, oh, she's just mad at the idea of me being with her at all.
Could be, but I don't remember her saying my words were twisted. I think she was. Wasn't she pretty adamant that she didn't say that?
Yeah, she said she never said or got mad at the idea of them reconciling. She just said her words got twisted. Because I at first was like, no, that never happened. Because I was hoping they would have asked Janelle, like, do you know anything about him wanting to reconcile with Mary? But they didn't. So I was like, okay.
Well, and the only one that agrees that it happened was Robin, and you can't trust her for nothing. So
yeah, so
she's like, oh, well, I came in on the end of that conversation. That's another thing that never happened.
Yeah, I think he might have approached Christine first with the thought, and because she was kind of like, okay, but what about, are you going to work on our problems? And he was probably like, well, and she probably, because didn't she say something about, I thought he said something about being in a loveless marriage. So it's just a theory. I'm wondering if she decided to bring up their issues and he was like, whoa, I'm just talking about me and Mary, not us. And
could be. I guess I just don't trust Robin and Cody at all. So yeah, Rhodey might as well be. That should be his new name, Rhodey.
That sounds like a dirty road action.
Since Robin owns him, what the heck?
Yeah, but I don't believe for a second that she flipped out over him just wanting to be okay with Mary.
No, and the thing is, even if, let's say all that was true and all that happened, and Christine did say, oh, you can't go back to Mary or whatever, why would he listen? Their relationships are supposed to be their relationships, right?
Yeah.
They're always saying that. It's between him and his wife.
Well,
So
why would he listen
Why would he
now?
ever listen to Christine?
Yeah, because even in the beginning, didn't she say she didn't want a fourth wife? And he said, oh, if all my wives aren't on board, it won't happen. But here we are. So obviously he doesn't just listen to what they want.
Yeah, he never does.
Yeah, he's just, ugh. I think he's mad. Him and Robin both are mad that Christine is so beloved and supported in her decision to leave. And he's like, why would people be so happy about, that? But it means because nobody wants you with her. She deserves better. And I think that's where Robin was getting so irritated too, was I don't think she likes that Christine is so everybody loves her and doesn't like Robin.
Oh, I think it eats her alive. I really do. I think she can't stand it.
Because
just saying, what are you talking? What happened with KJ and Christine? Do you mean on social media? I put it in the Discord. I laughed so hard because KJ made this big post about she paid to subscribe to Christine's Instagram, and then Christine blocked her. So she's all like, oh, this isn't fair because
it's weird, right?
She took my money and then she blocked me, her $4.99. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't.
Well, then Paedon going on John Yates, so she's probably not very happy.
No, I'm sure she's not happy at all. I thought it was so funny though when her own subs were telling KJ, well, you did that to me.
That's why I was like, is the irony not falling on her? What? She doesn't see the irony?
I don't think she's seeing it. I don't think she gets it. And it's like somebody else said too. Katie, she knows how to get, how to unsubscribe and get her money back. Come on, stop.
Well,
it.
She's blocked paying members before too. So
yeah, which is the same thing. It's so funny. Sometimes I just cannot believe the crap people do. Yeah. I just can't believe it. Oh, hang on. I'll get you the link. Oh, see, they changed everything on StreamYard since it's been so long since I've gone live. This is terrible. So now it's hard for me to find everything. They moved everything around.
Yeah. Decided to make it all difficult in a new year.
Yeah, I actually like the way it was before better. Where you load pictures and videos, it's actually harder now.
Well, and why are they cracking down on language? It doesn't make sense.
No, that's what I said at the beginning when nobody could hear me. I think they have always done that. That's why I don't cuss on YouTube.
Because I know certain words, like...
But they say advertisers don't like it, and I can kind of see that.
Yeah, that's true. But also, it's like, aren't we all adults? I mean, they say cuss words on regular TV shows now. And they didn't used to back in the day. So...
Well, they said, like, damn doesn't count. And one other one, what was it? Damn and something else. Don't count as curse words.
I think it is.
Are you back?
I'm back.
Woohoo, she's back.
I am, like, my AirPods died because I listened to that John Yates stream and I was taking notes.
Yeah, I can't do that long with John Yates. I just can't.
No.
I can't. No. He's not my cup of tea.
Nope.
No.
See, Irish, I don't think it's funny that I did think Christine would leave because, like I said, once she lost her religion, she was gone. She was out.
Yeah. And when her mom left her dad, that I think was a big thing to like influence her and open her eyes.
That's what I said, because if you remember back on that, when her mom moved in to help her and her mom was teasing her about getting her out of polygamy, remember? Her mom was like, maybe you should.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was like, oh. So she had full support of her family to get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Mary leaving surprised me. Because I know how devout she is to her faith. And that's why I thought she hung on for so long, was because they really think that if they leave these relationships and these marriages, that they're not going to get to go to heaven.
Yeah.
And I could see that too, but her going after Sam made me think it wasn't a religion thing.
I don't think that she was ever, like, I do believe Mary that she, like, I know she's lied and said it was just friendship and the autos came out and whatever, but I think that in her mind it was attention. And Paedon says in the interview, like, Mary and Leon both are attention hungry. I think that she wasn't getting what she needed from Cody, and she had gotten really close. Like, they were having trouble. They met Robin, and Robin was their special little secret, and they got really close together over Robin. And then once Robin's in the family and there's a physical relationship, I don't think that Mary was getting what she needed from Cody anymore. And so I think she was in over her head before she knew what to do. Because we know that Jackie Overton / Sam was threatening her. So she was, you know, and to be, you know, honest, she was very insulated as a child, and then went right from being a child to being in a married relationship. So she had no experience in the real world and how people are and can be. So I do think that, you know, she's guilty for sure, but I think also she didn't know how to get out of it once she was so far in. I don't think she intended.
I think too, once all this stuff with the catfishing happened and then Cody rejected her, I think her family probably took her in and said, you got to get back to your religion, because it seems to me she got way more religious again. Remember?
Yeah.
All of a sudden she's quoting Mormonisms and all that. Mm-hmm. So I think they were like, listen, you did wrong, and now you got to get back to the church and get back to religion.
For sure.
Yeah.
And her mom passing away probably influenced her. Now it's not as much in her face that she has to be, you know, in the faith. And Valerie just said something interesting. She said, I think Mary's post led me to believe a book is on its way. And my thing about that is, Mary's still living in delusion. So there might be some truth, but the truth is never going to come out, because I think Mary's book is very much going to be like I'm a survivor, poor pitiful me, but I'm good now, and da-da-da. And she said, I hold no animosity.
I don't think she'll ever.
No, she probably won't. No. But I don't think we're ever going to get the true story from that, because Mary's still very much living in this deluded, you know, fake world she's trying to portray.
The problem with Mary is she always makes all these vague posts and then says, that's not what I meant. That's what drives me crazy with it. I can't stand that vague booking.
Well, she said she made a post on Facebook yesterday, and she was like, she had reshared, or might have been 2 days ago, she reshared the statement, and then she was like, I don't want you guys attacking Cody and saying negative things about him, because I still very much, you know, care for him, and it's not what you think it is. But the thing is, Mary, you set it up for the people who are your sycophants to be like, oh yes, Mary, he's so bad for doing that to you. You're such a victim. And then you snap on them.
Yeah.
For identifying you as what you've set yourself up to be. Like, come on, lady.
Yeah. And when you put your whole life out there, you have to expect this. I mean, you just do. You know what I noticed though, which kind of shocked me yesterday? Somebody was showing one of her lives on TikTok, and she was wearing a sleeveless shirt with no shirt under it.
Yes, she did.
Yes, that's a first. And it was so funny because she said, oh, somebody said they didn't realize I have arms, and it's because nobody's ever seen her arms like that. No
did you see you see the picture?
What picture?
I just put it in general. She carved Sam's name into her leg.
Oh yeah, I remember that picture.
I didn't know she actually did that.
Dude,
I'll save this one and put it in there.
That's not normal.
That's another level of
cuckoo.
But if you're already in a situation where you're kind of brainwashed by a faith and lifestyle, like, wouldn't take a lot necessarily, especially if you're, I do think Mary was scared. I think she was afraid. Like, just imagine, you ever did something when you were a kid and you're like, oh God, if my parents find out, and you feel the dread when they start to find out. I think that very much so it was like that for Mary. I'm not excusing her, but I understand the fear.
I thought with that whole situation, I thought it was friendship, and then it was kind of more, and then she did fall for him, whatever, but she made it seem like Sam was the obsessive one or the obsessed one.
Well, Jackie Overton was very, like, multiple text messages per day. It progressed from loving to, it was friendship, and then it was loving and flirtatious, and then it became like kind of hot and heavy, and then it was threatening. Oh, if your family finds out, oh, what if the media finds out? It'll ruin you. And Paedon made this comment in the interview. He said, I don't want to endanger the TV show and the way that my family makes their money, because this is my family still. He said, but when it's over, I'll tell everything. Like, I'll tell my truth 100%. I think Mary probably thought, oh my gosh, if this all comes out, it could endanger the money. And again, money to me in that family is like a love language. I think that it's very, like, there's big things about, finances and money. And she probably thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to ruin this whole thing for my whole family, and they're going to be so mad at me.
The thing that doesn't make sense, though, is like Cody said, his biggest fear was living in poverty or being broke. Yet they spend money so stupidly, like this house of Robins and buying the land that you can't afford to pay off, and all these houses, and
my sister wife's closet. Like, what?
Yeah, that was the biggest waste of money there ever was.
They
don't make smart financial decisions.
They should have listened to Janelle. Even though it would have cost more money to start up that gym, a gym in the long run would have probably paid itself off.
Yeah, 100%. I think so.
Because a gym appeals to everyone, male, female, any shape, size, whereas that ugly jewelry.
If they had been at the gym, they're going to pull more people in just wanting to see them.
Yeah.
Well, and like Janelle said, I'm not fit. I don't look like a gym rat. And if we create a space that's safe, think about that. You're in Utah. If they were in Utah or even Vegas, I guess, and they had created a gym where other people of that faith or similar faiths could go and feel comfortable working out and bettering themselves, that was a gold mine. They screwed that up.
Mm-hmm.
I would think they have to wear the LDS garments.
No, they don't believe in them. Their sect does not believe in them. No magical underwear for them.
What about Peyton saying he will never hate Robin because she recognized Mary's abuse from her own in her first marriage?
Yes, he did say that.
Yeah.
He absolutely said that. He said that when from her experience in the marriage, she recognizes certain signs and symbols of abuse, and she early on recognized them in Mary, and that he thinks that's what led to. He actually said that Robin saved their lives. Now, I don't know if that's like literal, like he thought Mary was capable of, something heinous, but I do think that, childhood abuse can definitely change the course of a life. So
that's so weird to me, though, because supposedly her and Mary were so tight. Mm-hmm. So it just seems weird to me.
That's telling, though. That tells me everything I need to know about Robin, though. Like, as tight as she may have been, she had ulterior motives. Of course, you make best friends with the first wife who's number one. Come on. To me, if I were in a polygamous relationship and I was a second or third or fourth wife, and I found out after the fact that the first and legal wife, who was there, and that's what I signed up for, had dissolved her marriage so that the husband could marry a different wife, I found out about it later. That to me is the biggest betrayal. I think that's, among the other 100 million things she's done, that's the biggest thing for Christine and Janelle. They didn't find out till later. They had no say in it. And that does change the dynamics of a family.
Oh, yeah. Janelle knew it was going to change everything. Mm-hmm. That's why, that scene where her face just falls. And it wasn't about the taxes.
No, I mean,
Oh,
Christine gets up and leaves. Yeah.
She knew it was going to screw up everything. She knew.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have to be legally married for that adoption to go through.
You know, it's one of those things, you're better off with the devil that you know than the devil you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I've heard people say that they didn't have to be legally married for him to adopt them. But also people are like, okay, well, what if after a while, will he go back to being married to Mary, or will he try legally married to Christine and give them all a chance to be legally married? Because he's never divorced from Robin. And it's like, well, if it was for the adoption, you know, because
that's why it got me, that scene where Robin tells Mary to burn her marriage certificate. And I'm like, well, let's burn yours, Robin. Get yours out and burn it.
Yeah.
What a piece
now,
of
Robin legally changed her name to Brown before they were married, though, didn't she? I think.
What was that?
I think it was before that he and Robin were legally married. It was at Christmas. Her gift to the family was that she changed her name to Robin Brown.
I don't remember that.
What was creepier was that drawing she had done.
That was so creepy, and that was so wrong.
Weird.
And I still don't get why their biological dad let all this stuff happen.
Well, his cousin did an interview. The bio dad's cousin did an interview, and she said not on air, but like a I don't know, tweet longer or text exchange or whatever. And she said that like it was the money machine of TLC. He could not fight it.
That's a cop out, because you don't ever have to give up your kids. I don't see what.
No,
how's TLC going to make you give up your kids?
Supposedly Robin had proof of years of abuse and, blah, 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 whatever. And they were going to use that against him. I don't buy that, because like that family doesn't want anything negative to come out. Why would she air her dirty laundry for him then to respond? And
that never made sense to me, because if he was that abusive, why did the kids immediately go stay with him after the wedding?
Right.
So you can't have it both ways. Either he was too abusive and shouldn't have his own children, or you're sending them to him and saying that he's fine.
They still go see him, and they're not his legal children anymore. Can you imagine?
See, I think maybe it was they told him, we won't go for child support if you, because I know a lot of men do that.
Yeah.
Give up their name on their kids and stuff just not to pay child support. And I could see even more a Mormon man doing that. But I thought it was interesting. I read the other day, Robin's mother did the same thing. She left a marriage, married into a and changed all of her kids' names.
Yeah, Robin's dad, who was in the room when she gave birth with a clear view from the
It was so weird.
That's not even her real dad.
Yeah, I've never known a man other than the father and the doctor that would want to be in the room when a woman's giving birth.
I mean, if I was raised by only my dad and we had this really super close, amazing relationship, he can maybe hold my hand at the head of my bed and look at me. I can understand that. I have a friend who went through that, but like Cody and Robin's dad both. Like Cody talks about like when Madison had her first child, Axel, he like catches the baby, and I'm like, I love my father. He's amazing, but I do not want him anywhere near me in that moment.
No. My dad would be like,
my own mom out of my room. My own mother.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't want anybody. I don't even know if I'd want my husband there. I'd be too busy cussing and kicking and fighting.
I remember, when I was in labor, everything was so loud to me, and I kept telling my mom, you got to stop talking. Please stop talking.
Yeah.
And she just kept talking. And so I whispered to the nurse, I was like, will you please make her leave? I can't take it.
I don't blame you.
Years later, I felt bad because my mom would bring it up. She kicked me out of the, labor room. I was like, Mom, I did ask you to quit talking. I did.
No, it's just weird. I mean, the last time I had surgery, I had to kick my husband out of the recovery room because he was driving me crazy because I was still drugged and he was blah, 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 blah. And then when I was getting ready to go home the next day, my mother-in-law was in the room with me, and I literally was like trying to hide while I was putting clothes on and like apologizing to her. And she was like, "It's fine, honey. I know everything that's going on." And I'm like, "But still, and that was different. I was just trying to put clothes on."
Yeah, I'm the same way though. I've never been one of those, I'd have girlfriends just strip down right in front of you. I was never one of those people.
No, it's weird.
That's so weird that I never knew that about her changing her name. I guess I just assumed she changed it when she married Cody.
Yeah, that was
no, she did it
one
before.
of his Christmas gifts. I can't remember if it was
weird
before or after they aired the whole adoption. But
it was after Vegas, but before they may have been talking about adoption, maybe, but it was definitely before they got married. And Robin is like so excited at Christmas, and she's just wiggling and so excited. And he goes, "Robin is officially a Brown." And I was like, you can see everybody's face like, that's the Christmas gift? Okay.
Well, when she did the photo, everyone was kind of like, what does this mean? And she's like, I wanted to
weird.
Create a moment, like a moment that didn't happen. You're trying to like erase it. And I was like, why didn't she do, I mean, the idea of like doing a photo, but like, why didn't she do like the photo of them at the court getting adopted and have that drawn up? Or just a recent photo. Like, why did she take? I think it was a picture of Cody with Christine's kids of all pictures, and then when they were little, and it's like you're trying to act like their dad never existed, or that the kids aren't old enough to know who their dad is. Like
that's the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
You're making it didn't happen. Why are you trying to? Because my thing is, if Robin's family comes over or friend, and they're like, "Oh, wait. I thought you've only been with Cody a couple of years. How did he know that?"
Yeah.
It creates a conversation piece. And then I'd be like, you're weird. Why? What?
Well, Paedon talks about in the interview how, what's the second daughter? Brianna's the oldest, and then Aurora. He talks about how Aurora like became super clingy to Cody and a daddy's girl once like they were in the family. And I just thought that was like super odd, because like as a grown man, for a young little girl to be so clingy to you and calling you, her kids were calling him daddy off the bat.
Yeah,
I just thought the whole dynamic was just super, super odd. Like, I get the inclusivity, and I do agree that if a man marries a woman with kids, he should love those children as his own, their package deal, but like they still have a dad active in their life.
Yeah.
Hey, Spackle.
It wasn't even like only that, like it was like she was trying to get the kids to think he never existed. Like Cody has always been your father. And because remember when she tried to act like her purity was back and she was able to give it to Cody? Like I think she was really she was trying to make it seem like in the real life universe, Cody was her first and only. He is the father of those kids. He took her virginity, all that. Like, Robin, stop it. Just stop.
I agree, Valerie. I think she's way worse than we thought she was. And I think her true colors were really coming out in that tell-all. The real Robin was really showing up. And I still think she did text Cody. I think that he got a text on that watch.
Yes.
And he looked at that watch and he was like, nope, not talking about Robin. It's okay to talk about every other wife, but you're not going to talk about Robin.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff is that?
Well, what do you think she meant when she was saying the wives wouldn't give Cody what he wanted, like for affection? Do you think she meant
for sure, sex? And I think she was referring to Janelle because, and I hate to, because I don't know, it's kind of TMI, but I've said in the Discord, I don't think Janelle ever had relations unless it was to make a baby. I just don't think it was her thing. I think
I do. And she even said that they had a healthy sexual relationship. Like it was good.
But what does she define as healthy? Is the question.
She has always said that they were not romantic. She has always said that.
She said it this
they did
I don't remember what episode, but she said it.
It was last season's tell-all. she said that there had no issues there, that they have a healthy intimacy. But also, there was an episode a couple seasons ago where he and Janelle go camping and they're talking about their relationship. And he said, I'm much more in love with you now than I was the day I married you. And she said, yeah, I definitely am much more in love with you and romantic with you now than previously. So I do feel like I said, I think that when she came back to the family, there's that pause between Hunter and the boys, obviously, because she was gone. But I do think that they were, having a romantic resurgence.
We'll have to agree to disagree. I don't think they ever had a romantic relationship. I think it was just to have kids. And then once they were done having kids, that was done. That's just how I feel. I feel it in my gut.
Well, and it may not be the romance that we think of as romance either. It could be like whatever, because Cody's arguably has taught these women how to function in relationships. So she might think that it was super romantic or romantic enough for her. And then she sees his relationship with Robin and she's like, whoa, it was never like this for me.
Well, remember when Robin pointed out that she thinks that they should all be able to kiss Cody like in front of each other, and the other wives were like, no, I don't agree with that. That's why I was like, is she referring to that, or was she referring to something bigger?
I think it was something bigger, because I think she's of that patriarchy mindset where the woman has to do what the man wants, whether you want to have sex or not.
Oh, God, can you imagine
that? Like, well, not only like women should do whatever they want when he wants, but also she bringing up their private lives with him like that?
Right. Like, that's what I'm saying. If there's a conversation between him and Robin, like, oh, Christine won't put out, blah, 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 blah. She's like, oh, it's okay, I will. Like, that's creepy and gross.
And I've wondered too, because he does, I don't know what the rotation is, like how often he spends at each house, but I'm like, does he really have sex multiple times a week? Or does he say like, well, I got Robin last night, I'm going to marry maybe on Tuesday? Like, I don't know.
I mean, if you look at the ages of the earlier kids, they're born 9, 10, 11 months apart. I mean, simple math in that respect. But Peyton said in the interview also that like from Vegas on, Cody has not been spending time with anybody else but Robin, because he said like Janelle's kids would all go over to his mom's house and Christine's kids would all go over to Janelle's house like regularly. And so the kids would run into like Janelle's house and be like, where's dad? And he wasn't at Mary's because Mary was having the catfish stuff going on. And he wasn't at Christine's because her kids had just come from her house. And he wasn't at Janelle's. So he was at Robin's house all the time. And his argument for this was, well, my kids with Robin are younger and they need me. And he was like, Truly is younger and she needed her dad.
Mm-hmm.
We needed our dad because like we weren't that old. He says pretty much from the age of like 12 that Cody was no longer a safe person and no longer as involved in his life. So he says, right.
Them.
So like Truly and Isabel and Gwendolyn, they don't have the same experience growing up with Cody that like he and the other older kids did, because Cody had checked out. He was, Robin's husband at that point.
Yeah, how he like about them now? It's like I get they're adult men, but they're still your sons. Like the way he talked about Garrison being a narcissist and you're an adult, go get your own place to live. And when I was 18, they kicked me out, and like you don't have to repeat that cycle.
Yeah. Paedon said like it had nothing to do with COVID. That his brothers, reason Cody wanted the brothers kicked out was because they were speaking negatively about Robin. And Cody was like, you can't live in my house if you're going to be disrespectful to the woman I love. And, Janelle was like, these are my kids. You can step off.
Yeah. And he really expected her to treat them the same way. I think that's what did it for her. Was like, you can come at me all day long, but my boys, Mama Bear's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he fell madly in love with Robin, and they should have just been honest to everybody and told him, That would have been the honest thing, because even Christine says that they met, they fell in love, they were soulmates, and he should have just been honest and told the rest of them he was done.
And Paedon said it took less than a year for everyone to realize she's the favorite.
Yeah. And that's what I said. When you fall in love with somebody like that, you don't want to have relations with other people because you're in love with that person. And I think it was his first true love. I really do.
Yep. I 100%. I think he was, I think he saw, you know, Mary as like a little bit of a prize, and he was, you know, being vigorous in his newfound faith. And I think, because I know it's practiced openly in the FLDS, so it wouldn't surprise me if it spoke about in the ABU or whatever, Apostolic Brethren, whatever they are, which is his sect, that love is not a requirement for marriage. Love is not a requirement for intimacy. It's not a requirement to create children. That it's a higher calling to accept someone, you know, without love.
Yeah. Is that why
like,
he
grow to
says
love them.
Respect matters, love doesn't matter?
Right. I think that's 100%.
And I think he probably loves these other women as friends and people that he raised his kids with, and that's a different kind of love. That's not the same as being madly in love with somebody.
Right.
Well, I hope you're okay, Bossy. You're not sounding too good. Maybe you need to lay down for a little bit.
Yeah, when he said love doesn't matter, respect does, I was like, so it's all, your idea of a marriage is submission, is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And
yeah, toe the line, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I think Robin brought him back to that. Robin was back to the hardcore religion and the wife being sweet and being submissive to her husband.
Yeah. Because they had moved away from their religious community several times. They spoke about it.
Yeah. And I think Robin brought all that back again. And, you know, she is the neck that turns the head.
Because
that's for sure.
When Janelle said this isn't what I signed up for, I wonder if that's what she was referring to. Like, because I mean, the way TLC edits, it's possible she didn't even say that right after the whole patriarchy thing.
Well, and if you think about like the dynamic of the relationship, you know, he was never super crazy in love with any of them. So Janelle, you know, she looked at her marriage and she thought, well, this is pretty good compared to what he's got with Mary. And it's pretty good compared to, you know, or equal to what he's got with Christine. Because Christine, they all said, was like funny and giggly and light, you know, and it was, you know, her relationships with other people were one way. I think that was okay. I think that when they saw the difference in the way he functioned with Robin versus, you know, the rest of them, I think that's when Janelle was like, oh shit, something's not okay. Oh, excuse me.
Well, that's like Christine saying she'd never realized a functional relationship till she saw Maddie and her husband. And she was like, I want that. Well, you're not going to get that in polygamy. That's not going to happen.
And when Aspen got her marriage license, she was just staring at it like, I'm never going to have one of these where I'm at.
I think Christine for sure will fall in love again and have somebody.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, I hope so.
Exudes joy and love.
Well,
you know, I'm a big believer, and you give back what you put out. So,
because Janelle, for her to say she's still going to stay religiously married to Cody makes me think she's not interested ever in another man. But Christine, I think she definitely wants it. But
she definitely does.
I think she's just holding off out of respect for Truly. But you can tell.
Well, she said she's dating now.
Yeah. But as far as like the one, I think she's gonna hold off. But yeah, and what's really sad is her kids are like putting her out there. So it's like, you know, it's bad when you're happy your parents split up and you're telling your mom like, get back in the game, Mom.
Yeah.
Well, that Peyton said he and McKelty years and years ago spoke about it, and that they had. He said that like you have to have the glass shatter for you, and each of the kids, it happened at a different time because they thought, you know, all their parents loved each other and everything was happy hunky dory. They all were obviously trepidatious of Mary, but like they thought everything else was okay. And then McKelty said to Paedon at one point, I think that Dad thinks that Mom is his soulmate, but that Mom is not Dad's soulmate. Like there's a disconnect there. And when that happened, he was like, oh my God, that's true.
Valerie, that's exactly what I think happened. I think he never experienced a real adult, mature love until he met Robin.
Mm-hmm.
Then he couldn't have relations with other women because then he felt like he was cheating. But why not just be honest?
Mm-hmm.
Christine said it. It's exactly what Christine said. She said he met his soulmate, and that was the end for the rest of us, and it just was.
I have breaking news. Becky just posted that Lisa Marie Presley passed.
Oh no. I didn't want to hear that. Oh gosh. I was so hoping since her husband was there and gave her CPR that she had a chance.
Yeah, but you don't know how long she was down for before he walked in the room. They said he had gone to get they lived together, even though they're not together, and that he had gone to get the kids.
Oh, that breaks my heart. Mm.
I know her mom is just broken right now.
Oh, she's got to be. Yeah. That's so sad. I was saying prayers for her today, hoping everything would be all right.
Yeah.
Dang.
What about Cody talking about Gabe and Garrison saying if one of my little ones had to get sick because my son's, that was so gross, had to get their pencil wet. That was so disgusting.
That's what I mean. Like,
especially when it wasn't about COVID at all.
Yeah.
My heart breaks for Gabriel when he was crying. And I never cry at TV shows, and that one about got me.
Oh, I cried.
I almost cried at that one.
But I wish they would have brought that up at the tell-all.
I do too.
They didn't talk about the kids at all, other than one of the kids having their baby. That was it. And then
I was like
apologizing about the fight, and it's like, can we talk about him completely forgetting his own son's birthday?
Yeah, I don't think he forgot it. I think he did it on purpose. I think that's how Cody punishes. I think it's emotional punishment. And that's what he did to Christine.
How Cody could stand there and be so cold to him while he's sitting there pouring his heart out.
Yeah.
And bawling. And Cody's just cold as could be. I was like,
disgusting.
No.
Well, notice when Gabe said, he's like, I could have been like, hey, it's my birthday, but I wanted to see if he'd remember. I could see Cody saying, well, why didn't you just say it was your birthday? Why didn't you remind me? Why were you
right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Speckle, it's supposed to be a calling from God. They got to have 3 wives to get into heaven. But, Cody's been saying he doesn't know if he believes in polygamy anymore. Robin still does, but that's easy to do when you're wife number 1.
Well, they asked Peyton, if your dad takes another, is your dad going to take another wife, and how will Robin react to that? And Peyton was like, no, it would be a no-go. And then he says, you know what, though? He said, if it does happen, he said, I know this is gross. He said, but like karma, he said, would be if she was like 20, 25 years old, she's the young, skinny one. How would that make Robin feel based on the things she's done and said to my moms?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And being of childbearing age, because Robin wanted another baby after.
Right.
Ariana.
Girl, I think she was dreaming because she is past her prime. And for her to say how Christine was older when she had Truly, come on.
Yeah.
Because I think when
Robin's not having any babies. How old is she?
I think she's
42, 43. She's a couple years older than I am.
Yeah. And when she was saying she felt like God wanted her to have one more, I think she was already 40.
I think that was just to have camera time or something. I don't think it was serious at all.
I don't think she was ever really going to have a baby for Mary. I think she said that. And I think that probably, and I think part of the reason Mary didn't do it was because, can you imagine if someone like, Robin said, I'll have a baby for you, and she does? Robin's going to feel like she has some say over that child.
Oh, for
some
sure.
Control. I would be like, and then Cody's like, well, Robin gave birth.
Yeah. Mary probably wouldn't even get to raise that baby.
I think
No.
Mary knew she would be indebted to Robin whether she liked it or not.
Right.
So, and also, I mean, it's not unfair to say, because even Mary was saying, like, you know, Mariah at the time, she was what, 16? And a lot of women, like, once their kids get to be teenagers, the idea of starting all over with a newborn,
right?
You kind of like your freedom a little bit, not having to change diapers, wake up with them, and then you kind of look forward to the empty nester stage, I guess, sometimes. So it's not fair for her or unfair for her to be like, I just don't want anymore. But they
no, that's totally fine.
Her. Yeah. And
well,
Robin
I think
just
a lot of times when you watch Cody with the younger ones, he acts more like a grandfather than a father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Truly, like when he was hugging her, it was the most awkward hug I think I've ever seen between
those scenes with him and Truly were horrible.
Like you can
I've
tell
never seen a kid so awkward with their own dad.
Yeah, if there's a one child, I mean, they all have suffered. They're all going to have issues. But like, if there's one kid who's probably going to need the most support, I would say it would be Truly, because honestly, she's got to feel rejected on so many sides.
Yeah, Truly's always seemed like to me like she has some issues anyway.
Well, and she's
not
been
that I'm
on
a
the
doctor,
show
but
literally since birth. And then Robin came in right after, got pregnant. So it was like she kind of got pushed to the side for Solomon.
Yeah,
for sure. I still remember that whole scenes when Truly was sick and Cody wouldn't take her to the doctor. Remember Christine was out of town?
Oh, here's the biggest thing. You guys are going to flip over this one. So Paedon, they're asking him about the COVID vaccination, right? And they're like, did your dad get vaccinated? And he goes, well, my dad never got any of us kids vaccinated for anything. I didn't get a single vaccination until I joined the military.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize they were anti-vaxxers.
Yes.
Wow.
So I was like, what? Because that is crazy to me. Like,
they talked a lot about not going to the doctor out of fear that the state would recognize or like see that, oh, you're all in polygamy.
But do you think in their whole church there's not a single doctor? Because there is in the FLDS.
No. Yeah. Because they even said they do home birth because a lot of it has to do with the name on the birth certificate. And so
but Christine had Truly at the hospital.
Yeah. And that I was like,
and they knew.
Yeah, that I don't remember what did she go to the hospital by choice or did something?
Yes.
Because
I
didn't know if that was
because of her age. Because she had some at home too.
I was gonna say, like, she had the first 5 at home and then
but it wasn't like an emergency. Like they had planned it. Their nurse and their doctor, because remember Cody's laying in the bed with her, she's about to pop, and they're talking to the doctor about fertility treatments for Mary.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah.
But I think as she got older, they probably recommended having him at the hospital.
Well, she said she had that really bad miscarriage before Truly. And they didn't know if she would live because it was so intense.
Oh, okay. Because I was like trying to remember, like, was that by choice or was that for the show? But I was like, they've done home birth on the show too, so couldn't remember if that was choice or not.
Well, and they talked about.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say they talked about how Cody had health insurance for Robin and her kids, but Christine had to earn the money and come up with the money for Isabel to have her surgery. Because he's not, he's okay with health insurance. I mean, Dayton got in that accident where was it a 4-wheeler he flipped or something and it messed up his eye?
Yeah.
And they, he was covered by insurance. They talked about it.
I thought he wasn't covered because they said they had to pay like a $30,000 hospital bill or something.
Well, you know what's weird is on my
TLC I thought they talked about it.
That episode is not available on there.
Yeah, it's scrubbed. I looked too. I looked on Prime.
And I tried to
I thought they said he did because they were going to take him to the they were talking about, I think what you're talking about is they were talking about having to go to the plastic surgeon because where how they fixed it, he didn't have great vision in that eye anymore. So they were talking about plastic surgery and how that was not going to be covered under the insurance because it's considered cosmetic.
Oh, yeah.
I could be totally wrong.
I know they got in trouble and had a big bill they had to pay off or something. I think it came up when they were trying to get the houses in Vegas. Is that when it came up that they owed all this money to? Yeah, something like that.
I remember thinking like, wait, where was that? I don't remember the episode. And then on TLC, like it has a thumbnail or whatever, but you can't watch
it. But it doesn't. Yeah.
And I tried looking on other outlets.
Watch it.
It's the same thing. You can't watch it anywhere. And I was like, why? Because we've seen others, like we saw Isabel, we saw Truly in the hospital, like we've seen them do procedures. So I was like, it's not because he's a minor, it's not because of that. Like, why did they hide it?
You know what I thought was so funny too is Cody bawling and crying about getting COVID. Oh my gosh, really?
His near-death experience with a 99.8 fever. Like, I was like, dude.
And I thought it was so funny that Robin got not funny, but Robin getting so sick when she kept hinting. She was hinting that Janelle and Christine would have a problem getting COVID because they were overweight. You know that.
Oh, dude. Hayden talks about that in the interview because he's like, somebody asked during the live, they did a super chat and they said, does the nanny live there? And he was like, no, she's free to come and go as she pleases. And I absolutely 100% believe that the nanny is who brought home COVID to them. I have no doubts there. Like, so,
and think it was Brianna because she went back to public school, but they said that they were strict. Like the kids had to wear masks all day and do all that.
I thought they admitted that it was the nanny that brought it.
Yeah, I'm sure they said it was the nanny. And the kicker of the whole thing is because Peyton is like, listen, because they were talking about what does the nanny do, the shirts.
Yeah.
And he was like, you live in a house where you are a full-time mom with no job outside of the house. Your husband's a full-time dad with no job outside of the house. You have 2, almost 3 adult children living in your house. And you love the idea of sister wives because it's a big family and da-da-da-da. But you need a nanny? For what?
Well,
that's what I kept saying. What the heck do they need a nanny for?
Remember Robin said it was because she felt it was unfair to ask Cody for help when he's got to juggle 3 other wives and kids. I was like, he doesn't go to their...
He doesn't ever see them.
And they're...
Who he texts once in a while?
Other than Truly, they're teenagers. So you're saying you got a nanny so he can go spend time with Truly even though he doesn't spend time with Truly?
Well, Paedon said that not this past Christmas that just happened, right? Not Christmas 22, but Christmas 21 is the last time that he spoke to his dad. And then all of a sudden, and that was a text, okay? All of a sudden, maybe he said 7-8 months after that, he gets this weird, long, rambling text message from his dad. And it's just kind of odd. And he was like, this is just kind of weird. And then he found out that it was because Cody was trying to get all the kids to sign NDAs and get on his side in the, quote unquote, divorce from Christine.
Oh, yeah, I saw that part.
Oh, and I just remember.
He's so manipulative.
Because Robin's claiming she got the nanny because she feels it's unfair to get all of Cody's attention, blah, blah. But remember when he was at the B&B in Utah and he had to rush to get back home to be with the kids, with Robin?
Yeah, because he took away from him more than 2 days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, he killed me when he said, oh, why would I babysit my own kids when I can hire somebody for $20 an hour to do it? I'm sorry, Cody, you're a father. That's not babysitting.
I can't stand it when
I hate when people say dads babysit.
Cannot babysit your own kids.
No.
It's called parenting.
And that's what I mean. It's like, so when he's with them without the moms, does he really feel like a babysitter? Like, how?
because I don't think he ever had to do it before. I think it was always a good, fun time because Christine was there parenting and Janelle parented when she was home. And, everybody was terrified of Mary, so they didn't want to be parented by her anyways. And so, if he's downstairs in the basement with Christine, the kids are driving him crazy, he can go up to Janelle or Mary's and escape it. I don't think he has ever truly, Paedon says my dad was great until, he was a great dad growing up until about 12, but like from 1 to 12 are formative years and you're not really parenting those children. You're popping in. It's the argument of being the good time parent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when dads don't want to be the disciplinarian, blah, 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 because they want to be the good time parent that shows up or, whatever. Exactly.
Yeah, when he said,
so, yeah, of course they loved him.
Christine's kids to bed while she was at work. Come on.
Yeah.
That's just disgusting.
Like that takes all of a few minutes. Like you can't be like, hey, be right back. Gotta tuck the kids in. Really? But then he was fine driving how many hours to and from Robin's house when he first was with her.
And I'm sorry, if you're driving 4 or 6 hours away to visit a woman that you're not married to and you're dating, I don't care how many kids you bring with you, you got to sleep somewhere. And I promise you, Robin didn't have that many couches. They were sleeping in the same room.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt they were.
100%.
No doubt.
Bunch of BS.
When she acts like they didn't even kiss, or like kissing was not to be until you're married, but they kissed even before they got married. So
plenty of times.
Yeah.
Oh, that time when they did it when Christine was in labor, I wanted to hit the TV.
Yeah.
That was so disrespectful. Here she's going into labor and they're out kissing, thinking the camera didn't see him.
Yeah. It's just the whole
purposely trying to hide from the camera and then making a joke of it. Like,
can you imagine when Christine saw that? No wonder she had postpartum depression.
Oh yeah.
She had so many issues. And then if you're going through that and you have issues with her already, and then you've got a husband saying like, oh, I know that you just gave birth to but you need to be nice to her. Like I would have smacked him across the face.
I thought Robin was really insensitive to the kids too, because she wanted them to act, be accepting and loving of her. But it's like, okay, you joined the family because they all grew up together. Like even the moms, it was like, what's his name? Logan was born and Christine was there. So they literally all grew up with those 3 women. 14 years later, Robin shows up as the new mom, wife, whatever, brings in 3 other siblings. And then it's like, okay, now we have to uproot our lives in the middle of the night. You have to say goodbye. I don't even think they got to say goodbye to their friends and
No, they didn't.
Everything they had. And then they're adjusting to all of that. And then on top of that, oh, we're having another baby. And so it's like, boom, 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 all this change. And she's mad they're not more like, I saw their faces when I said I was pregnant. None of them smiled. I think some of them looked upset. It's, how dare you not accept that it's going to take time? And
yeah, but she's a narcissist, just like Cody is.
It's all like
about
she is.
Think about like when kids are teenagers and their parents split up, and then the mom or dad meets someone new, and at first it's that tension, and they probably get angry and don't want to deal with it. I feel like that was the same as when Robin came in, but she was more worried about her feelings.
Yeah, Paedon talks about how when Robin first came into the family and they moved to Vegas, how Hunter, he said the only thing that I can think of before, the COVID stuff started was that Hunter had bucked on Robin a lot. And she said something to him one time and he said, "You're not my mom. You're not going to tell me what to do."
Yeah.
And so she felt disrespected, by that. But he said that a lot of the kids went into like, a really deep depression when they moved to Vegas. And he said that was compounded then. Like Cody's thing in COVID was like they go straight to work or school and then they have to go stay in their rooms. They couldn't even socialize within their own houses with each other.
That's
per his rules.
That was a rule?
I didn't ever hear him say that.
That's what Paedon said. He said basically from work to your room. That's why he said he was, he didn't, even though he wasn't living in Flagstaff, he didn't visit because he wasn't allowed to, because he had socialized with people. He said, my dad literally told me, go to work, don't get too close to people. When you come home, go straight to your room and don't talk to anybody. See,
I think that was karma getting him and Robin back, that they got so much sicker than everybody else did. That was karma.
Yep.
Oh, 100%.
Yep.
I felt bad because I was laughing at those scenes, and here he takes her to the hospital. They don't even put oxygen on her, so she wasn't that bad.
Right.
She had oxygen on, if she, come on, big baby.
And then
he also said that Cody cut the kids off, like, I don't know if he meant financially, but that's the way it sounded. He didn't say those words, but he was like, my dad just cut all the kids off. And I was like, what?
Well, it's like when they turn 18, he's like, you're an adult, you're on your own. It's like, yeah, they're an adult, but they're still your kid. And that's what I mean. Like Dayton, he's what, early 20s. I think Aurora's probably
22.
Yeah. Brianna's a senior.
18.
Yeah.
She's just now 18.
He's not going to kick them out.
No. Robin won't allow it. She won't let Dayton move out of the driveway.
Valerie, I was lucky. I never had to do that with my husband. He was such a good dad. I could leave for a weekend or whatever, and I didn't have to leave any kind of instructions. He knew what to do. I never. Yeah. My husband was amazing, and he worked so many hours.
Yeah.
And he was still, like, he was adamant that when he came home from work that he put them to bed, and he spent all of his time with them from the minute he got home till when they went to bed. Because he never saw him in the morning. He went to work so early, and he hated it that he never got to see him in the morning.
Yeah.
Cody, too, with COVID and not seeing the kids, it's like, okay, you're scared of being in direct contact with her, but it's like, you can still call them. You can do the voice or like the Zoom calls like the four of them would do, or the five of them.
Yeah.
He could have made it work in spite of not being able to. Well, I think he could have been around him, but
he
could have made it work if he really wanted to.
But instead,
it was like
there's such a disconnect there for me because, okay, remember the episode where they're on a Zoom, it's the four of them, and Christine, I think, is with McKelty because Avalon's about to be born, and they're talking about Isabel getting a COVID test so that she could socialize with the rest of the family while Christine was out of town. And Christine says to Cody, like, did you take her? Did you encourage her? Did you remind her? And he's like, no, she's 18. She's an adult. Why do I have to do that for her? She can do it herself. So he doesn't want to do those things, but he wants to get an NDA to control the things his kids say. He wants to tell his kids that don't live at home, go to work and then go to your bedroom so that you can socialize with the family at some point, maybe in the future. Like he wants to be controlling when it's convenient for him. When it's a responsibility thing, he can't have anything to do with it.
Well, do we believe that they really wiped down their mail with Clorox wipes and took their shoes off every time they left the house? And I don't think they did all that. I think they knew deep down that they would look at that list and be like, okay, you're insane, and not want to do it. I think. Yeah,
Robin took advantage of it. She's like, here's my way. Mm-hmm. It's finally my chance to shine. Here we go.
It was all their excuse not to have to be with the other wives. That's all.
First thing out of her mouth was, "Can we not blame this on me?" And it's like, well, what do you?
Paedon, the first thing he says in the interview is Robin doesn't like to be blamed for the things she did.
Yeah. She don't want to take responsibility. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you listen to her, none of this is her fault. None of it. It's everybody else.
And she says, Cody, like, it was all his doing. But then she says, no, if I really had that much power, I would have made us all sit down and find a compromise. But then she's telling them, why can't you just wipe down your mail? Why can't you just do it? Like,
well, if you go back and watch those older episodes, when they first started talking about COVID, she was the first one to say they shouldn't get together. Mm-hmm. If you go back and watch, it was her, not Cody, saying we shouldn't get together. And I think and my son is high risk.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of time for pillow talk in that relationship. And I think she's just, Paedon says at one point, like, Robin is very manipulative, and he's had this conversation. McKelty called her out, basically. She texted something to Robin, or Robin texted something to McKelty, And McKelty texted her back and was like, Robin, you don't have to manipulate me. Like, I'm okay. And things, you know, I'll go along with what you want. And Robin was like, stop, like flabbergasted basically. And, you know, Paedon was like, McKelty knows she is. Like, we all know she is.
Yeah.
And
isn't McKelty the one that says she's so close to Robin? And
well, that's why she said you don't have to. Yeah. She said you don't have to manipulate me. I'll go along with what you want. Like, they called her right out for it. Like, they still, McKelty still recognizes it in Robin, but she does love her, which I understand. I mean,
yeah. I just want to know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we need to sick KJ on him for being anti-vaxxers.
Oh my God.
I would be surprised though that they got through school that long without being vaccinated.
That's what I don't understand.
Homeschooled for a number of years.
Yeah, but when they went to Vegas, they went to public school.
They were all in public school.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can use the religious exemption, but when they get to high school, I only know because Katie had a bad reaction to DPP, so she couldn't have it. And every year that school would fight me. Every year they would fight. I'd show them the doctor's note saying she can't have any more. She has a bad reaction. And then when she got to college, or high school and then college, it was really bad. I mean, the pressure to get her those shots.
Yeah.
And I'm not anti-vax. It was just she couldn't take that shot.
Yeah.
Right. It could have been the school system knew who they were and didn't know if they could, you know, hold up against them. Like if they brought some kind of a suit or whatever. They strike me as litigious, and they like to threaten things. Like, I've heard from people, like not anybody personally, but like I've seen posts where fans have seen Robin and Cody out, and they like try to approach them, and they're absolutely rude. And I, to some point, I get it. Like if you're on TV and you're just trying to run to the grocery store and get a dozen eggs, you don't want 12 people on top of you being like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. But like, also, you signed up for that. You wanted to be some level of famous.
Yeah.
Listen, in a few years, he'll be sorry. He'll be wishing people were running up wanting to say something to him.
Well,
right.
And his cameo is still $100. Like,
I know, that's why I said, Chris. I don't know. Christine never raised hers, but she needed to.
I think she was smart and kept hers lower, so that way she might get more people to be like, "Oh, that's not a bad price." Whereas, not only is $99 a lot for cameo, but it's Cody. Like,
yeah, like who wants a cameo from Cody? Nobody.
I'd rather have 5 people pay me $40 than nobody pay me $100.
Yeah, and like from what I've seen, like when people post his cameos, like it's nothing groundbreaking. Like Mrs. Kickstand, her subs bought her one for him to say what his hair care routine is.
No way.
Yeah, you didn't see that?
I didn't see it.
I'll send that. But yeah, it was for his hair care routine. He actually went into detail about the Moroccan oil he uses, and yeah.
Oh my God. If he put half the effort into his kids that he does on his hair, he wouldn't be having the troubles he's having now.
Yeah.
There you go, sister.
And then
all right, guys. Well, I'm going to have to go because I got to go to work in the morning.
Oh, fun.
It's almost my bedtime.
Oh, this was fun.
I know. I'm so glad we got together. It was so good seeing everybody.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk again in case there's any other juicy interviews.
I know. We need to get together more often. I think things are kind of calming down, so it shouldn't be so hard for me. Hopefully. Yeah. Hopefully I can upload some of these videos I've made and never uploaded.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming, you guys. I had a great time.
Me too. Yay.
Thank you, everybody in chat.
Good night.
Good night.